I'm here today because I have something to say. And I need to say it not just because on some level I think it will be incredibly cathartic to say these words out loud, but I need to say it because somewhere out there may be another woman just like me who needs to know that she is not alone. So deep breath, here we go. I was not born a mother. There was absolutely, positively nothing natural or instinctive about motherhood for me. As a little girl, I didn't spend hours rocking my baby dolls to sleep, dreaming of the day when I would be someone's mother. To the contrary, for as long as I can remember, I told my mother that when I grew up, I wanted to be a lawyer. And truth be told, that is exactly what I did. I grew up and became a lawyer because that is how us overachieving, type A, oldest children are. We always do everything that we say we're going to do. My husband and I were fortunate in that we became pregnant the first month that we tried to conceive. Even though we were well aware of how babies were made, I don't think either of us ever really expected that. I genuinely thought that I would have some time to warm up to the idea that I was going to have a baby, that I was going to be somebody's mother. Hear me loud and clear. I hated being pregnant. I hated every single second of being pregnant. I was nauseous for the entire first trimester, and then again in my third trimester. I had food aversions throughout my entire pregnancy, so my aspirations of eating ice cream, cookies, and pizza were nothing more than shattered pipe dreams. I threw up every single place that a person could possibly throw up. I never ever had a glow. I can assure you of that. And everything smelled bad to me, including my husband. I'm sorry, honey, but you smelled so bad. For some unexplainable reason, I thought he smelled of bologna, baby formula, and throw up. I remember coming home from work one night feeling incredibly nauseous, and he told me to go upstairs and lie down, and he would be up to rub my back. And all I could think was, for the love of God, please don't make him come up here. Oh, and one other thing. I never felt anything that felt like a flutter. My daughter started kicking the crap out of me at about 20 weeks, and she never, ever stopped. My doctor actually warned me that there was a chance that she might crack my ribs because of her positioning, but not to worry because that just happens sometimes. At 32 years old, I was one of the last of my friends to have a child, yet not one of them ever told me that sometimes the baby just happens to crack your ribs when he or she is in your womb. Funny how they left that part out of the story when they were gushing to me about how much they just loved being pregnant. People always told me that when you see your child for the first time, it is love at first sight. And I'm sorry, but that was not the case for me. I was so relieved that she was healthy, and I felt a tremendous amount of responsibility to care for her, but I did not feel some instant connection to her. Perhaps I'm just wired differently, but I don't just fall in love with people at first sight. I grow to love people as I get to know them, and it was no different with my own daughter. The first 8 weeks of my daughter's life were beyond difficult. She had acid reflux and colic. I'm not exaggerating to you when I tell you that my child cried 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One day I took my daughter to the mall because her screams seemed to resonate inside our tiny townhouse. I can vividly remember pushing my screaming newborn in the mall with tears pouring down my face. I resented those other mothers who were holding their quiet, sleeping infants in their arms. One particularly difficult evening, my husband came downstairs at 2 a.m., and I actually asked him what his plan was because I told him that there was no way that we could keep her. I am sure I must have sounded completely delusional, but at that moment in time, I could not imagine how we were going to survive, and I longed for our lives past. I was worried that we had made a terrible mistake. People had always told me that I wouldn't know true happiness until I had a child of my own. But maybe those people hadn't been married to their best friends like I was, because my husband and I were pretty damn happy before the baby. So where's all this rambling going? I guess at the end of the day, what I want to say is that I was not born a mother. I did not love being pregnant. As a matter of fact, to this day, every time I see a pregnant woman, I'm afraid to get too close to her for fear that her condition may in some way be contagious. I did not fall in love with my daughter at first sight. I do not miss having a newborn, and when I see a newborn, I don't question our decision to have only one child. But despite all of that, I stand before you today the proud mother of a 2-year-old little girl whom I love more than I ever knew possible. I was not born a mother, but I became a mother, and there is no accomplishment in my life of which I am more proud. In all aspects of my life, I consider myself a pretty rational person. Yet when it came to motherhood, I had this idealistic notion that it was going to look something like a Norman Rockwell painting. And perhaps for some it does, for motherhood truly is a work of art. However, everyone's vision of motherhood doesn't have to look the same. We all come with our own past experiences, strengths, weaknesses, fears, and we're each bestowed with a blank canvas to create our own vision of motherhood. So although mine might be a little bit messier and more abstract than yours, I'm really proud of what I've created and for what lies ahead for me and my little family.